Hello people, I am teacher Joko, and today we're going to be looking at the work of Sadaf Malik, who I am doing a feedback video for the second time, maybe the third time. Anyway, I'm always curious to see if a student has improved. You know, we talk about the purpose of what you're writing an IELTS essay for. Is to satisfy the band description. What is the purpose of what I'm doing? And that's to hopefully see improvement. And what's the purpose of you studying? To improve. So let's see if, in my eye anyway, Sadaf, S-A-D-A-F, kindly assess. So good. We didn't say access. We said assess. Oh, kindly, sir, assess my... I don't do kindly very well. I know, ma'am. Okay, here we go. This is the essay. Well, what is the question on which this is based? It's from Cambridge 8. Test 2, question 2. You know, after nowadays, there really should be a time, it's because it's a time clause, you should have a comma. I heard someone say you don't always need one, but that's the rule I learned. Okay. In what ways has... Now, ways is plural, so it should be followed by have. Has this become? Positive or negative developments. And then there should be a question. Wait a minute. It's from a Cambridge book. You're not supposed to question the grammar and construction of the question itself, because oftentimes it just gets miscopied from the original, and I don't have the book in front of me, and although some things, like, for example, developments and other sources I found, it said development, and it had a question mark. That was just a mistake. If only there was a definitive expert who I could look to who would spot something like this. Punctuation there at the end. Sorry, Charlie. Charlie, that's right. Our friend IELTS Charlie, who is an active member of this very board here at the IELTS Tips and Tricks group, did a whole blog about this question, and it's very good. After you watch this, I would recommend you go and look at that. I can probably put a card somewhere in the picture here that will link you to that. Charlie's good with all kinds of things. There's the URL if I missed that. And here's the question. He didn't put a comma in there. In what ways has technology affected the type of... What ways has technology... That sounds right. In what ways have technology... I know. Okay. I'm sorry. Duh, I'm stupid. It's a question. So the subject is technology. Technology has affected. Turn it into a statement, and the grammar is just fine. Duh, that's my mistake. Okay. Has this become? Yeah, he puts there's the S of done. All right, now, the first thing you want to do is analyze the question and understand how many parts there are to it. Answer some of the WH questions here and underline the key words of in the question. Okay. So it talks about... Now, the first sentence is the premise, okay? It doesn't really need to be discussed. It's not to be contradicted. It's a given, and it can be somewhat ignored. In what ways has technology affected the types of relationships? All right. Now, this is a two-part question. In the first part, the types. So what does that mean by types of relationships? Okay, do you have more friendships or less friendships? What does friendship mean? Okay, what is the nature of a relationship? That's what they mean by type of relationship, not how they come to be, how they come to pass, but what are they? Okay, has this become a positive or negative development? Question mark. Okay, I'm familiar with that type. What are the effects of the effects? So technology has affected the types of relationships, and has the type of relationship changing or not changing? What's the effects of that? Okay, effects of the effects. Oh, what we got? Another curtain here. This is what Sad AF wrote. Yep, there it is. Okay, can we get some numbers on it? Wait, where's my numbers page? Come over here to wordcounter.net. 328 words, that's less than the maximum, good. 30 words, longest sentence, average sentence under 20. That's good. It shows that you're using concise sentences, and grammar has not been an issue for you, so we'll see how that works out. Keyword density, use the word people 7 times, technology and relationships 5 times. Let's look for those words when we see them to see if there's a possible synonym you could have used. Remember now, yellow is lexical resources, so vocabulary. Green is grammar. Blue is cohesion and coherence. And orange is task response. These are the criteria on which your band scores are given, and they correlate with different skills, you can say. All right. I wouldn't associate era with cutting edge. Why? Because cutting edge is an adjective that we're going to use for nouns that are, real things. An era, I guess it's an abstract noun, but it doesn't collocate with cutting edge. You can't have a cutting edge era. Eras are too big to be cutting edge. Okay, a cutting edge decade, cutting edge year, even those sound strange to me. It's not a collocation we make. We can use cutting edge technology, cutting edge car, cutting edge knife. But it's used with things, not times. Okay, adjusting altered a way. Wouldn't it be the way? Yeah, you need the there instead of Now, the construct of used to is one of the sort of second tier grammar constructions that examiners are looking for to show that you can use a wide range of grammar structures accurately. If you attend an English language training course somewhere in the intermediate or upper intermediate, they're going to do a lesson on the use of used to. It's something that you did in the past, but you don't do anymore. And it has its own little grammar rules and such. And so you need to, if you include that, that's good. It shows a increased range. Now, used to can mean one of 3 things. It can mean, as I said, something you did in the past, but don't do anymore. Okay? And then it can also mean become comfortable with, become accustomed to, or for something to become normal for you. Now, you can tell by the context which meaning it is. Those are rarely confused with each other. And well, look, the power just went out. Okay, thanks to my battery backup, I don't even notice. But it can also be the verb use in the past tense to mean to utilize. This is used to drink out of. I used to drink a lot. Now, they obviously have different pronunciations, but in writing, here you might construct that as being has drastically altered a way people used to interact with each other. Maybe that's what you mean. I don't know. So it's important to use used to, but you need to try to avoid slowing people down by making them wonder which use of used to you're using. Okay. It has certainly. All right, sure, I don't really need that sentence. However, okay. However is used to show contrast. So the thing that comes before, however, needs to be, starkly different from what comes after this. Otherwise, you would probably want to say, this has happened, and in addition, okay, it's had both positive and negative. Not however. There's no contrast between the ideas that it has affected us and it's positive and negative. Those are not opposites. They don't contrast. So be careful with your cohesive devices, your connecting words. Use the right ones in the right spot. This would have been much better for in addition. Although I will say this, compared to the last time I looked at your writing, in that video, which I'll put a link here to somewhere. This is much better. You didn't use moreover. Thank you for not using moreover. Okay, body paragraph 1. Okay. All right. Now, emerging technology has significantly impacted various types of relationships people make. Okay, that you've already said that. And as a topic sentence, it's kind of weak. Okay, you need to... decades ago, many friendships used to happen. Now, there's used to happen. You've already used used to. And look, you can see down a couple of lines. There's another used to. You're using it too often. Once you've shown that you can use it correctly, you don't need to use it again. And do friendships happen? Friendship is a noun, okay, and it's an idea. It doesn't collocate with happen. Friendships happen. Friendships took place. No, friendships don't occur. Friendships are. They're a state of being. It doesn't include. It's not an active thing. At different parties, I suppose, these days, through the medium of social media, because the medium and media. So through social media is all you need to put there, not through a medium of social media, such as Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We know what social media is. You don't have to tell us. And it's Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. Additionally, okay, that's a good impact. But before we go on to the next type of relationship, okay, friendship. You talk about making new friends. Well, that's different than friendships occurring or happening, is what you meant in the first sentence. What is the dynamic of being in a friendship? That's what they're asking. When I said earlier, they want to know the nature of friendship. What does friendship mean? You don't address that. You just address how people become friends. But what does it mean to be a friend? Not addressed. A student-teacher relationship, okay, used to be, once again, you're repeating yourself, when a teacher took. We don't take lectures. Teachers give lectures. Students take lectures. Face-to-face, definitely face-to, face. That's a spelling error. There's however again. We've already used however, but now finally you're using it correctly. That's a good example of contrast. We don't need to say because of advanced technologies. It's kind of wordy. Applications of, not of, like, such as. Okay. Now you're coming out earlier. Are we still talking about teachers here? All right. When a growing technology did not dominate our society. This is incoherent. It's just like you're kind of throwing it in there to show off the vocabulary of growing technology, and that's true. That's useful. To not dominate our society, dominate society. That's another good piece of lexical resource. But is that what we're talking about in this paragraph? Something dominating our society? No, we should be talking about friendships. Relationships used to be made in person. Now, to make a friendship is to start one. Okay, and that goes all the way back to the first sentence. Or the used to happen, and then make new friends, made in person. This is an example of what you were writing about when you said friendships made on social media. Okay? And in fact, actually, you're kind of just repeating that point. And then you give an example, for example, which is not an example of, it says relationships. It does say not friendships. Okay. But this now is an entirely different type of relationship that you haven't mentioned yet. Okay. This matrimonial, this romantic relationships, dating applications, matchmaking applications. Okay, I guess there's some different kinds out there, but they're not all looking for their soulmate. Let me tell you that. Okay, which is not talked about anywhere else in the paragraph. So, what's an example of? Okay, and here we have, now, along with having effects on the types of relations people establish. You have not established that yourself. Okay, that would have been very good, a very good piece of cohesion between the two paragraphs, and you do need something like that. But along with having effects on how relationships start, that's what you talked about in the previous paragraph, which you shouldn't have done, but you did. And if you want to connect that idea to the next idea, you have to use along with and then say what it was that you were talking about. Because you don't talk about the types of relationships. This development has developed presented both postcards. A distance relationship is made effortless to connect with because of WhatsApp or Skype. It's bordering on incoherent because it's not very clear. Effortless to connect with? What does that mean? Is it easy? It's made easier. It's not effortless, I'll tell you that. Once again, you're talking about the first part of the question, which is the way people interact has changed. But what has it done to the type of relationship? Nothing. I mean, you don't say that. You just said the technology. Considerable amount of time. All right, so that's... Furthermore, now people don't need to pre-plan their meeting spot, office meetings. Are office meetings a relationship? And tools, Skype or Zoom. Before it was WhatsApp or Skype. Okay. And I suppose, this is support for your idea, but your idea is not directed to the question. Besides positives. Along with positives, people have been facing some negatives also. Why the present perfect continuous tense? Okay. When we use different tenses in English, of course, they're used for a reason. We use the present perfect continuous to stress an amount of time. Okay, so people have been facing some negatives recently, in the last few years. That would make sense. But what you're describing is a continuing action that resembles a routine or a habit or something that's always that way. And that is the textbook definition of when to use the present simple. People face. Okay? It's happening now continuously. But I mean, and repeatedly. So in that instance, present simple. I bet you use the present perfect continuous because you wanted to show off that you know how to use that tense. Find an accurate way to do that. Okay, do we have some support for this idea? No support. You just say it. In addition to this, that you haven't developed that idea yet. Don't move off of it. A virtually made relationship. Virtually made. Okay, that's an odd bit of collocation, and I would definitely put a hyphen between those two, because you're talking about something that is virtually made, okay? It's just describing a relationship. But maybe it's not quite made all the way yet. It's just developing. So it's virtually made, meaning like almost. So that's a negative thing. Okay, fine. So you got positives and negatives. To conclude, along with the considerable effects on the types of relationships which you have not addressed, technology also has its benefits and drawbacks, okay, for individuals in today's societies. Well, you know what? You did use people 7 times, but it doesn't really stand out. So let's talk about what this is. What are you going to be facing come exam time? Because Sadaf, you have got a lot of feedback from a lot of different people here. You should feel lucky. And hopefully, if you do the same kind of improvement you did after you did your first essay a couple weeks ago, I think you'll do okay. But where are you now? I generally don't give band scores, but what the heck? Why not? First of all, it's better, as I mentioned. However, lexical resources are still an issue. Okay, many times, and you had this issue in the first one, you're using uncommon vocabulary, but not accurately. You're taking risks in your writing. Instead of taking the simpler and easier to understand term way of saying things. You go for a more complicated way. Now, it makes sense to do that if you are creating better clarity, okay, and distinctness. This is precision. This is exactly what I mean. But that doesn't come off that way. The way you're using words comes off as, I'm using these words because I want to show off that I know how to use them. And since they're not quite right, you're not getting that precise definition, it is exactly what you see here in this description. The writer is a risk taker. Wider range of vocabulary, but higher inaccuracy and inappropriacy. That's in band 6. Okay, cohesion and coherence. Lexical resources. Task response. Okay, you've got some off-topic sentences in there, like the bit about romantic relationships and working. Those are just not, they're not to the topic of what you've been talking about in the paragraph, and because they are unsupported. This here main ideas, yes, they're relevant, but not sufficiently developed. Okay, and some of your points are not supported or relevant to what we're talking about. That's also in band 6. CNC, overuse of connective devices is the same as underuse, and it's still flawed. Okay, cohesive devices are used to some good effects, but cohesion within and between sentences may be faulty or mechanical due to misuse, overuse, or omission. You don't need a connector before every sentence. It does not always a good thing. And then like between the paragraphs, that you had the right idea of how to do it, but this is like between body paragraph 1 and 2, but along with, you didn't accurately describe what you had done. So it's used effectively, good, but you lack cohesion, which makes it incoherent. That's also in band 6. Your grammar is good, as I mentioned that the first time. Most of your sentences are error-free, and punctuation is fine, but there are, except for the used to bit, there's some errors, some slips, but they don't really affect my ability to understand, so that's band 8. Well, let's see, 6668, that's 18 plus 26, divided by 4 is the 6.5. Okay, Sadaf, here are some final points for you. My resizing of the image here was not working in my editing. So here, I want to tell you, again, focus on accurate use of your lexical resources, and you can go from that 6 to an 8, because you've got a wide range of vocabulary. Just don't try so hard to show off. Accuracy for you at this point is more important than range. Okay, and then your cohesion and coherence, you didn't use moreover, but you used however too much. Maybe just avoid anything with ever at the end. And limit your use of cohesive devices, okay, the connector words. Use them once you show you know how to do it, and you can do it precisely and not mechanically, that there's a reason for these words to be where they are, you get that 7 or 8. Okay. And then grammar, almost, you're fine there. And then task response. Okay. Here in this unit, you didn't understand what they meant by types of relationships. Relationships have changed. Yes, the way we form them have changed. Now we're using dating apps and different medium of social media. But that's not what they're talking about. That's not the type. Type means kind of, category of. What does it mean to be a friend or a teacher or whatever? I wish you the best of luck. So, if you found this useful, please subscribe or hit the bell, whatever, down below. Leave me a comment. And I'm so close to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, which after 4 years of doing this is kind of pitiful. I'm not proud of that, but it is a nice round number. So you can help me get to that. I'd appreciate it. And that's a wrap, folks.